6ers, we're looking at objectives 3A.3 through 4. That's the last of the 3 exponent rules we'll learn about in this unit, which was quotient of powers rule. Again, we're going to start just like we did in the last video, kind of grounding ourselves in where these rules come from before we start applying them to simplifying expressions. The quotient of powers rule, as it says in the name, should give you a hint that we're talking about dividing powers, and a trick or a rule that comes about when we are dividing powers with the same base. So in this example, where we have x to the 7th divided by x to the 5th, one way we could write this is actually as a fraction. X to the 7th really means x times x, 7 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, divided by x to the 5th, which means x times x 5 times. If we simplify that expression, you can see that several of these x's would cancel out because x divided by x equals 1 times x divided by x equals 1, and so on. And that 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, we can really forget about. And all we're left over with is x times x, which of course would be x squared. And so what you should see here is that, well, I'll go back to the pattern afterwards, but you can also do this with whole numbers. 5 to the 3rd really means 5 times 5, 3 times, divided by 5 to the 4th, and to simplify that, again, several of the 5's cancel out, and we're left with really 1 times 1 times 1 divided by 5. That's 1/5. And you know that 1/5 is the same thing as really 5 to the negative 1st. And so to connect this to the rule, if you're dividing powers with the same base, like x to the 7th divided by x to the 5th, all you do is subtract the exponents, and you get x to the next x to the 2nd. The same thing worked here. 5 to the 3rd divided by 5 to the 4th, they have the same base, so you can divide them. And you subtract the exponents, 3 minus 4 equals negative 1. And 5 to the negative 1st was the same thing as 1/5. So that's a refresher of the rule quotient of powers. Now we should be ready to apply it to simplifying expressions that look like this. So starting with A, I have 6y to the 3rd divided by 2y to the 5th. I think it's going to be helpful to always rewrite these as a fraction. So I have 6y to the 3rd divided by 2y to the 5th. And I have to be mindful about which ones I can use the quotient of powers rule for versus which ones, for example, the whole numbers, that I'm just going to be dividing. So in order to simplify this, 6 divided by 2 really equals 3. I'm dividing my whole numbers. And y to the 3rd divided by y to the 5th, since you're dividing powers with the same base, you can just subtract the exponents. And this is really 3. Y to the 3 minus 5 is negative 2. 3y to the negative 2nd. This is a correct answer. Just to be clear, since it's y to the negative 2nd, another way you might see the answer is really 3 divided by y to the 2nd. Because y to the negative 2nd is the same thing as dividing by y to the 2nd. Either one of these is correct answers. And if you think about it here, that's because we have like 2 y's left over in our denominator. Looking at B, I have 2xy squared times z to the 3rd divided by 4 times x squared times y times z to the 3rd. The very first thing I'll do is write it as a fraction. 2xy squared z to the 3rd divided by 4x squared y times z to the 3rd. And the thing that I'm going to do now is first recognize that the exponents of the variables that I don't see are 1. So that's really x to the 1st, that's really y to the 1st. And now I'll use exactly what I did last time to simplify this. 2 divided by 4 is not a whole number, but it does simplify to 1/2. X to the first divided by x squared, that's 1 minus 2. I'm dividing powers with the same base. That's really x to the negative first. Clean that up so you can see a little better. X to the negative first. Y squared divided by y to the first is really 2 minus 1 with the exponents. That's really y to the first. And z to the third divided by z to the third is really z to the, if I subtract the exponents, 0th. And now I just need to kind of put these pieces together. First thing I know is that z to the 0th, or anything to the 0th power, really is just 1. So the z's, I forget. The next is I see a negative exponent of x to the negative first, so I'm going to rewrite my answer in the following way. This is really 1 times y to the first, and since y to the first is the same thing as y, I can forget about it, divided by 2 times x, because x to the negative first is the same thing as dividing by x. I don't really need this 1 here, because 1 times y is the same thing as just y. So my answer is this, y divided by 2x. Okay, it's now time for some guided practice, so I'd like you to try C and D yourself. Stop the video here, press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, you've tried C, 9y squared divided by 3y squared. First you'll divide the whole numbers. 9 divided by 3 is just 3. Then you'll divide the powers. Y squared divided by y squared. If you subtract the exponents, it's really y to the 0th. And that would have been a correct answer. But you should have been able to go one step further, because you know that anything to the 0th power is just 1. And so what this really means is 3 times 1. Your final answer after this is completely simplified should have been 3. Next, looking at D, 2a to the third times b squared times c to the fourth, divided by 8a b to the third c to the fifth. First thing you should recognize is that this is really a to the first. It's a secret. So if you divide the numbers, 2 divided by 8 doesn't divide evenly. It simplifies to just 1/4. Next, a to the third divided by a to the first. You're dividing powers with the same base, so you subtract the exponents. That's a squared. Next, b to the second divided by b to the third. You subtract the exponents, which is now b to the negative first. And last, c to the fourth divided by c to the fifth. That's really, again, subtracting of c to the first. To simplify this fully, you want to get rid of the negative exponents. So what you really should have is 1 times a squared as your numerator, divided by 4 times b times c, both of which are to the first. To be fair, you don't need the 1 times a. Because that's really just a squared. And you actually don't need the first powers for the exponents. So to be completely simplified, this would be 4bc. A squared divided by 4bc. And that would have been your answer. Okay, now it's time for some independent practice. I'd like you to complete these 5, simplifying them using the exponent rules we've discussed. Press play, which I'm not going to show you the answers. After you submit your answers for these 5, you should be ready to retake objective assessments, I think, 3A.3 through 4. Good luck.